Hello, I'm Bread Boy, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Limoxy's replay. Limoxy is, I believe, Diamond 1, Diamond 2, somewhere around that in 2v2s. So I think he's just looking for all-around advice in this playlist. So let's start this replay and have a look. So just a quick thing to mention here. Your opponent beating you to this kickoff is just a result of him flipping and you not. Most people will flip for this kickoff, so it's generally a good thing for you to flip for it as well, because you want to try to arrive at the ball around the same time as them, unless you're attempting to do a fast kickoff, in which case you would try to get there earlier. So I just want to go back a little bit more here. So here's kind of a really bad time for you to go for that corner boost. When you see your teammate is having trouble making a clear, it's best to just rotate straight back into goal and be there just in case he doesn't have this clear. You can just simply just grab these smaller pads on the way there to recover instead of going out of this way here. So good job getting up in the air here as well. One thing that I would suggest doing is to try to practice jumping a bit earlier in these spots. If you had gotten up even faster than you did here, you could have actually hit the ball in a better spot for your teammate. So here, you went a bit too far forward without knowing the ball is going to be behind you. It's important to pay attention to Bean here. You can see that he's boosting, which means that the ball should be coming in pretty fast. You can also look and see that the ball is slightly to his right while he's going forward. This will tell you that the ball is going to at least be to the right, his right, and your left here, unless he changes his positioning of his car at the last second. So for this reason, it's best not to go as far in the middle of the goal like you did here, as that push a bit too far up made him have a pretty nice shot up into the top right corner from his angle. So I just want to talk about your kickoff a little bit here. So I'm not sure if you meant to do your kickoff in this way. It seems that you were trying to do a fast kickoff. In my experience, I usually see people going for the other corner of the ball with the right corner of their car. So usually what I see people doing, let me pull this up here, is I see people, well, your car is aiming this way, right? So I usually see people try to line up this half of their car and line it up parallel with this line I'm drawing here. And then what they'll do is they'll do a diagonal flip after getting it to about this point in this line, and they'll try to aim for that corner of the ball there, and they'll try to aim for it with this corner of their car. And that's how I see most people doing their fast kickoffs. There's no like definite right way to do a fast kickoff. I know there's a few different methods you can use, but that's just something I thought I'd mention to you that I see a lot of people using. So here, like, you're boosting way too close to your teammate once you go to this area here. Um, you do correct this issue at 38 seconds here by driving back to the center of the field, but you should keep in mind that in most situations you should avoid this kind of positioning that you were in back there. Being way too close to your teammate is pretty dangerous. Also, I would not suggest being in the position that you were. I think it was about here. Um, so here it would have been better for you to have your car probably. Here, I'll pull up another example here. Let's see, do I have a pitch vertical? Yep. So I'd say it probably would have been good to have. So you were about here for a little bit, and then you moved up to about this position here with all the enemies and your teammate in this position there. So with the goal being there, you probably want to stay around here because pushing up to this spot here gives you pretty easy access to either the left side, and you're further back so you have a bit more time to react to whatever happens with the ball here because it's kind of a mosh pit of cars here and it's pretty difficult to anticipate what the ball's actually going to do. So staying at around this position here, like just moving up from that midfield that you were just at, just being middle and in this position here should give you a pretty good amount of time to react to wherever the ball's going to go. Plus, if you're just right here, you have little time to react because you're a bit closer, and if the ball goes right, it's really hard to follow up with it. So here, you should be watching your teammate a bit more closely. As we see here, um, we see his car turning towards the ball again, which is about like right here. Um, see, after he hits it, let's see, I think it's at, yeah, 51 seconds here, we see he jumps. And then if I slow this down and wait for him to hit it, we see we're at 51 seconds here. And it looks like you jump here is about, I think I'd say that's about half a second later. So this is like just a double commit to you, like you guys both jumping here. It's just important to pay attention to your teammates' movements. So I saw that you guys you're not queued together, so you don't have voice communication. So it's doubly important when you can't actually talk to your teammate and know what they're doing. You have to really look at them and watch what you think they're gonna do. So I really like this this clean pop that you did here to get the ball over the backboard. One thing that may have helped you get an even cleaner goal here would be to watch the one defender that there is here. So you see he goes up and then he stops because he knows that he can't get to it. So after we see this, we can assume that he's going to be going back into the goal and he has to take his time to turn his car around. So knowing this, it gives you the liberty to push up much further than you did, which would in turn prevent you from having the enemy as close to you as he was here. Because you see Ben just pulled up right behind you really last second there. And he was pretty close. But yeah, if you were to attack a little bit earlier, it would have given you less of a chance of him attacking you. So after your kickoff here, you probably should have went straight for the boost you'll see here because Kronos missed it. Um, this keeps you from having to rotate all the way back into your corner in this spot. And then watch Arch's car position here. You can see that he's turned to the side and is trying to get back behind the ball again. So seeing this, you should see the opportunity for an attack instead of turning to the side. So I'll go back a little bit more there. So right here is when he's turning to the side and should probably attack the ball because he's trying to go behind it again. And that turn you did there puts you in a bad defensive position. So I think it's about 27 seconds here. Yeah. So I think this is a visual bug here because I'm pretty sure there's boost in this spot. Because yeah, I'm positive there's boost in this spot. So as soon as you see the enemy boosting in this scenario, you know that they're trying to boost starve you from the middle boost that should be there. So here, instead of flipping and giving up possession of the ball to the enemy, you should have instead air rolled your car clockwise. I'll show you which spot. So right where you jumped there, instead of actually jumping and like flipping forward to hit it, just you want to jump and air roll your car clockwise and make the bottom of your car parallel to the wall so that when you lightly touch the wall, this will keep you in control of the ball and it'll conserve some of your boost as well. So I just want to follow up on something that happened back here. So one thing I liked that you did here is you heard your teammate down below, I would assume, and you waited for him to clear that instead of you, which I think is a really good call on your part because he has the better angle to follow up on. Kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier, you don't want to be this close to your teammate. If he gets beat to the ball and you're right next to him, then you in turn are going to be beaten as well. So in this spot, you want to likely be back to the left of your teammate's position. So this right here was a goal opportunity. It's okay for you to go for a risky follow-up in this situation, since you know that your teammate's behind you currently. And as soon as you pop the ball up and see the enemy is going up, so as soon as you pop it here and then you see that he's going up for this, you can see that the enemy is either going to clear it to the right or tap the ball upward slightly just to pop it up and make some time for his teammate, or he can completely miss it. So most likely he's going to either miss it or clear right since most people don't pop it up. So keeping this in mind, you can push up much further to prepare for a follow-up. So when you pop the ball up here, you need to watch Arc and how he's aiming his car to your left side. So in spots like this, you want to really shadow the clearer's movement and aim your car the same way that they are. This will let you follow up or defend to be. This will help you in both follow up or defending situations to be ready and keep the pressure on them. Because if he manages to clear this left and you're shadowing his movements, then you're aiming your car left, and that you're a lot more able to follow it up at that point if you're aiming at the same direction. Is the way he's trying to clear it out of. So in this spot, um, a better option than flipping would be to try to possibly catch the ball lightly on your side. And if you have pretty good ball control and dribbling skills, you can just try to carry this and try to make a dribble play. And then another option would be to turn your car slightly and aim the top right corner. Um, Aim for the top right corner of the or the top bottom left corner. Top bottom left corner, the bottom left corner of the ball, and try to hit the ball above the crossbar. So I'll try to describe this better here. So using this spot of this corner of your car here, you probably want to aim for, if you take this at a wider angle, meaning like if you took this going around this way a bit more, and then you aim with this corner of your car, and then aim for the bottom left area of the ball, you can probably hit that. If you're doing a diagonal flip, it should send it over the crossbar and set something up to follow up with, or it potentially can go in as well. So just a different way to hit the ball here that you can keep in mind for future scenarios like this. Um, Also, one of the reasons I said that catching the ball and dribbling it can be really good here is you see if you catch a ball by letting it kind of rest on this side first, you can set up a really good flick shot since you're using the Dominus. The Dominus is pretty good for these. If you catch the ball and able to dribble it, if you look at how much space, like the first defender's here, and then the other one's dealing with your teammate here, so they're both really far away from you. So it gives you a lot of time to set up a dribble play, which I think would be the ideal thing to do in the situation if you catch it. So here you probably should have noticed that the enemy player kind of flew past you on your side. As we saw, he kind of flew past us there. Um, what you should have done is taken that corner boost for yourself as soon as you saw that, because you don't want the enemy to have full boost again, especially if it's him taking it from your side. So when you're coming down off the wall in spots like this, if you have space, then you want to try to catch the ball instead of just, hitting it forward like this. Because if you can catch the ball, you can flip it. You can flip your car and then have the ball flick forward above the enemies, and it can really punish them when they're being as pushed up as they are here. So here, instead of hitting the ball straight towards the opponent, because this kind of gives up your possession in a way, try to instead hit it close to you and to the right. So from here, you can try to set something up off the wall. So that's just something you can take from there, I think. But yeah, if you just hit it straight forward, you're just giving it up to Ben like this. see. So here's an example of not rotating when it's necessary. Here you need to let your teammate challenge the ball and you rotate back into goal. So when you're coming back here, you can see your teammate Kronos is still facing forward. So you can go behind him for this since he's facing forward and has a bit of a better angle to defend this with. Because this is just risky because you kind of hit Kronos there. And I think he probably would have had a slightly better touch on the ball had that not happened. So here, I'd say that you could wait a little bit longer to predict your opponent's shot. Here you jumped just a bit too early. Nice save there. Good job on that. When you're going in this deep on enemy territory and you see that their boost is up, it's really important to starve them. This is a visual bug here, but this boost was up. So yeah, you definitely just want to take every opportunity to boost starve your enemy players because it puts them at a real disadvantage when you guys are pressing the attack. So this is just especially true to boost starve them when you don't have to go as far out of your way to take the boost. Like it's right next to you here, so it's a really good time to do it. That just looks like just a mechanical misplay. So when you're going for the shot, you're close. The correct place to hit the ball here is more on the front of it because hitting it on the bottom is just gonna pop it up more, which is not really what you want in this situation, as it causes it to hit the crossbar. So if I slow this down to like 5% here. So you hit the ball here. It probably would have been better to try to hit the ball more like just anywhere on this front facing area here. So you hit it on kind of the bottom, almost in front of it, which is really going to pop the ball up a lot. But instead, if you would have hit it maybe more like here when you were going up for your shot and aimed and tilted your car forward as you were doing this, it would have sent the ball more forward instead of being popped up like this. So here's a spot where you can actually go back and grab that middle boost. Because after hitting this, you can see that both the enemies are facing the same direction away from your goal. And if we look at your teammate, which is Kronos, he's rotating back here and he's just in the net area, which gives you time to actually prevent the enemies from having a follow-up attack. So if I go back to you here, So this is again a visual bug, but the middle right boost was up for you to go take. And as you see here, the enemy is actually rotated back to grab that boost. I believe Ark is the one who actually went and grabbed that. But that boost still being up for him basically makes it so he can continue his attack as he does here, and he pops it up. So in a spot like this, you probably should be cutting your car to the left a bit earlier, since it appears that the enemy players had a chance to score here. So probably like not half second, probably like a quarter second before here this spot, your car should have been cutting left a bit more, as this was actually really, really close to them scoring here. Let's see. Okay, so good call on going up for the ball here. Um, it's really good that you went up this early for it. Something you probably want to try to do differently is probably want to try to hit the ball with, I'd say this corner of your car here would be pretty good to get some power behind it. And then if you hit it, I think probably somewhere around maybe this part of the ball once it falls to about your height. So once you're at equal height with the ball, use your air roll to kind of aim your car a bit more forward. And in aiming forward like that, you're going to have a little bit of power then. And then that power with that corner hit should have the ball at a pretty good speed going into the goal, and in a pretty good placement as well. Good save. All right, and that ends the replay. So just to kind of summarize a few things I noticed this game, um, your positioning in some spots is kind of dangerous. You like to stick really close to your teammate, in this case Kronos, in a lot of spots where it was really not necessary. And if the enemy beat Kronos in a 50-50, um, it would have probably been pretty bad for you, since you being so close, you wouldn't be able to do much about it, and that leads to a lot of open goals a lot of times. um, a few other things I noticed are some spots where it might have been better to play your attacks a bit differently. Um, an example of this would be, if the ball's coming towards you from the enemy's half and you're about midfield, um, knowing what to do based on where the enemy's cars are placed can be really useful to you. Like earlier, we saw that there was a time where the enemies were pretty close, or one was fairly close, and the other was being bumped by Kronos. And recognizing that, it gives you a bit of time to set up dribble plays and stuff like that, because in that situation, one of the enemies is basically taken out of the play and it's a 1v1. So if you have your dribble abilities down, you're basically just doing a 1v1 dribble play, which many times is really hard to defend against. So stuff like that is definitely useful to take into account. Um, Generally, just also watching your teammates' movements a bit more closely, I think would really help you, because there are times where, um, it didn't look like you were watching him as close and he did something surprising that you weren't ready for, which caused double commits and stuff like that. So I think generally those kind of just positioning was just one of the main things I saw that was important with you and your teammate, and then different ways you can attack to look at keeping and paying attention to your enemies. So that's all I have. If you have any questions for me, just feel free to reach out to me on Discord DMs. So hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.